Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about grilled cheese. Now, as always, before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. Every once in a while, we see headlines about shockingly high prices paid for seemingly ordinary things, like the time people paid six figures for a banana duct taped to a wall. Well, rumor has it, a partially eaten grilled cheese sandwich sold at auction for almost $30,000. They say what made this sandwich special was the toast pattern resembled the Virgin Mary. What do you think? Would someone really pay tens of thousands of dollars for a half-eaten sandwich? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is casein. That's C-A-S-E-I-N. Casein is a family of related phosphoproteins commonly found in mammalian milk. It accounts for 80% of the protein in cow's milk and provides milk with its characteristic white color. During the cheese-making process, casein proteins coagulate to form the solid curds, leaving behind a liquid whey. The specific molecular structure of these casein networks determines how a cheese will melt when subjected to heat. Our word casein comes from the Latin caseus, which translates to cheese. English speakers adopted the term in the mid-19th century as chemists began identifying the distinct chemical compounds of milk. Because casein proteins are held together by calcium ions, cheeses with lower calcium levels melt smoothly. Cheeses with high calcium levels maintain their structural integrity and resist melting entirely. And that's why high calcium cheeses aren't ideal for a classic grilled cheese sandwich. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about grilled cheese. Number 1. The modern American grilled cheese sandwich came about in the 1920s as inexpensive sliced bread and processed cheese became widely available. In 1916, James L. Kraft patented a method of pasteurizing cheese which prevented spoilage and allowed for mass distribution. A bit later, Otto Rohwedder invented a commercial bread slicer, putting uniform slices of bread on grocery store shelves by 1928. These two industrial advancements were not only great conveniences, they provided a critical lifeline when the Great Depression hit. Families needed affordable, calorie-dense meals that required minimal preparation. Combining a slice of processed cheese with sliced bread provided a nutritious and inexpensive solution for households across the country. Originally, these sandwiches were prepared open-faced and called cheese dreams. Cooks placed a single slice of bread topped with grated or sliced cheese under a broiler until the cheese melted. Putting on the second slice of bread only became the standard practice a bit later. Closing the sandwich made it more portable, and that was helpful for a lot of workers bringing their lunches with them. During World War II, Navy cooks prepared thousands of what they then called cheese-filling sandwiches for sailors. And the widespread military use helped to make the two-slice method the standard across America. Number 2. The world record for eating the most grilled cheese sandwiches is 47 sandwiches in 10 minutes. The competitive eater Joey Chestnut set the record on June 10, 2006 at the GoldenPalace.com World Grilled Cheese Eating Contest in Las Vegas, Nevada. The competition required participants to eat standard sandwiches consisting of 2 slices of bread and 1 slice of cheese. Not only were all the components the same, each sandwich was actually weighed to ensure uniformity. Chestnut ate 47 complete sandwiches within the 10-minute time limit. He took in about 12,000 calories, not to mention a high volume of dense carbohydrates. While you or I might be able to eat more than one grilled cheese sandwich if we're hungry, the average person's body just could not handle such a massive quantity in one sitting. Competitive eaters train by expanding their stomach capacity using large amounts of water or cabbage for weeks before an event. During the competition, participants will often dip their sandwiches in water to break down the bread and accelerate swallowing. As of the time of this recording, Chestnut's competitive eating grilled cheese record has stood for 2 decades. Number 3. While the sandwich has been around since the 1920s, and actually versions of it could date back to ancient Rome, the phrase grilled cheese didn't appear in print until like the 1960s. Before the 1960s, restaurant menus and cookbooks referred to the dish as toasted cheese or a melted cheese sandwich. The United States government published dietary guidelines and military cookbooks using the phrase cheese sandwich, toasted. Even when cooked in a skillet with butter, the word grilled was rarely applied to bread and cheese combinations. But that changed during the post-war rise of diners and fast food restaurants across America. Cooks in commercial diners used large flat-top griddles to cook multiple sandwiches simultaneously. Because the sandwiches were cooked on a piece of equipment referred to as a grill, they started using the name grilled cheese, and it took off from there. Today, the term is standard in North America, but other countries use different names for similar dishes. In the UK, a similar dish is called a cheese toastie, and in France, they have a baked version using Gruyere and ham known as a croque-monsieur. Number 4. A cheese's pH level determines its melting characteristics. The pH scale measures how acidic or basic a substance is. The scale goes from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral. Anything below 7 is considered acidic, and the lower the number, the more acidic it is. Cheese typically falls between 4.5 and 5.5 on the pH scale. When cheese reaches a pH of about 5 to 5.4, the calcium holding the protein structures together dissolves. This acidity range allows the proteins to separate smoothly when heated, creating a fluid, stringy melt. Sharp cheddar and Gruyere fall into this optimal pH window. If a cheese has a pH below 4.8, the proteins tighten and release moisture, resulting in a clumpy texture when cooked. On the other hand, if the cheese has a pH above 5.5, the protein structures remain rigidly bound together by calcium. Cheeses in this higher pH range, like feta or ricotta, will soften and burn rather than melt. So the chemistry tells us that selecting a cheese in that sort of Goldilocks zone with a moderate pH is critical for getting that delicious, gooey grilled cheese filling. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: survey data indicates grilled cheese lovers are awesome people and give more to charity. In 2015, the social networking platform Scout conducted a survey of 4,600 users regarding their sandwich preferences and lifestyle habits. The data showed that 81% of users who identified as grilled cheese lovers had donated their time, money, or food to charities. In contrast, only 66% of users who disliked the sandwich reported similar charitable behaviors. The survey aimed to find correlations between comfort food preferences and personality traits. The study also gathered data on travel and adventure metrics among respondents. 84% of grilled cheese fans reported traveling outside of the United States, compared to 78% of non-fans. Also, grilled cheese enthusiasts were more likely to engage in thrill-seeking activities like skydiving or rock climbing. It is, of course, important to note that this is one survey and correlation does not equal causation. That phrase, correlation does not equal causation, is very common, and for those of you unfamiliar, I think it's really important to unpack it a bit. Two things might be associated, like people who like grilled cheese tend to give more money to charity, but that doesn't mean the grilled cheese makes them give to charity, or that giving makes a person enjoy grilled cheese. Often, correlations are caused by some other factor that influences both of the trends. In this example, I might wonder about a person's socioeconomic status in their formative years. In fact number 1, we learned about how sliced bread and processed cheese made for a cheap meal and rose in popularity during the Great Depression. Well, it might stand to reason that those who saved money by eating a lot of grilled cheese developed a taste for it, but they also have empathy for others who struggle financially, so they might be more inclined to be generous in charitable giving. So when people say correlation does not equal causation, they're reminding you to consider other factors that might influence the trends in the data. Now for some news you can use. If you want the perfect grilled cheese, there are a lot of different factors to consider. For example, to get it to toast up just right with that golden brown, crisp exterior, you might consider substituting mayonnaise for the butter on the outside of the bread. Mayonnaise spreads easily straight from the refrigerator, preventing the bread from tearing. It's an emulsion of oil and egg yolks, which provides a higher smoke point than butter. The egg proteins in mayonnaise undergo the Maillard reaction quickly and evenly, resulting in a uniform crust. Butter contains milk solids that can burn quickly on a hot skillet, whereas mayonnaise creates a protective barrier that heats the cheese thoroughly without scorching the bread. I personally like to use a garlic aioli, which is basically a seasoned mayo, because when I say I'm using an aioli, it just makes it feel more fancy. Now, for the perfect gooey melted center, you gotta pick the right cheese. Generally, you want something with a high moisture content, like a Colby, Monterey Jack, or a cheddar. Heat your skillet over medium-low heat, maintaining a surface temperature around 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Cook the sandwich slowly for 3 or 4 minutes per side, allowing the ambient heat to penetrate the bread before the exterior burns. You might also consider using a lid or just flipping a bowl over the sandwich during the first few minutes to trap steam and accelerate the melting process. This controlled temperature approach gives you that perfect melted center and golden brown crust. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, did someone really pay tens of thousands of dollars for a partially eaten grilled cheese sandwich? Believe it or not, that's a fact. In 1994, a woman named Diana Dizer made a sandwich, took one bite, and noticed a face in the toast marks. She kept the sandwich in a clear plastic box on her nightstand for 10 years, and she says it never got moldy. In 2004, she listed the item on eBay, and the online casino goldenpalace.com bought it for $28,000. Golden Palace saw it as a golden opportunity for marketing. They framed the sandwich, placed it in a protective briefcase, and sent it on a world tour. They traveled across the country in a bus painted to look like the grilled cheese sandwich, making stops at casinos, state fairs, and TV stations. The company also sold t-shirts and other merchandise with the sandwich's image to raise money for charity. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about grilled cheese with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.